Let's see. I'm trying to position this correctly. I'll kind of get a little broader. There we go. UFC Stockholm coming up. Sweden. Alexander Gustafsson, Anthony Smith will be the main card. Will be headlined by or not headlined. The main card will be started off by Daniel Tamar and Song Bin Jo. Tamar 6-3 in MMA, 0-3 in the UFC, losing to Danny Henry, Julio Ars, who we just seen fight, and Chris Fishgold, who fights on this card. Song Bin Jo is 9-0 in MMA, making his UFC debut. His last fight being in February of 2018, so he's had more than a year off from competition. All 9 of his wins are via finish. What's happening, Mario? I'm glad you're unemployed these days because, goddamn, I'm sure somebody would be getting hurt this weekend if you were there. But it's good to see you doing your entrepreneur thing. You know what I mean? You got, well, for that one, I think I got Song Bin Jo over Daniel Tamar. And then I got Daniel Tamar getting cut from the UFC just because they're cutting people left and right these days. Then we got Damir Hazvak versus Christiagos Giejos. Murdered both of their names probably, yeah. Mr. UK. Damir is 13-4 in MMA, 3-2 in the UFC. Still streaming this weekend in the morning. What time is it over there where you're at? It's in the morning for me. So maybe, probably, we'll see. There's a possibility. So yeah, you're on my time. It's in the morning. I'll probably be doing something. Maybe for the main card or some shit. Let's see. 10 out of 13 his wins or finishes. Giegos is 16-7, 1-1 in the UFC. Lost to Charles Oliveira. Win again, Mizitu Hirota. You'll be at the fights this weekend in Stockholm, or you'll be at Chicago? You're confusing me, man. Say you're in Chicago, but you'll be where? You'll be here, hanging out, watching the fights? Oh yeah, you're the man. I'll see you there. Unemployed, man. You got all that time. Feel me? But yeah, we'll be watching some of them, hopefully. I definitely want to catch at least the co-main and the main event, the Volkan and Ir Latifi and Gus and Anthony Smith. I definitely want to make a point to catch those, but we'll see. Hopefully, we get to watch a couple of fights before that. I got in that one. I got Damir Hadvadik, the Russian dude, bartending these days, reffing bar fights. Hell yeah. That's where they need you at, man. At least they got somebody, right? Most of these bars just let people get beat up. At least you got Mario Yamasaki there. He'll save you eventually. Who's the next one? Makawan Akamarakan and Chris Fishgold. Very high on Chris Fishgold. 18-2-1 in MMA. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Let's see, what's his shit look like? His wins over Tamar. His losses to Kelvin Kadar, who's a rising star at that division. 13 out of 18 of his wins are via submission, which goes with American, who has 19 out of 14 of his wins via submission. He is 14-3, 4-1 in the UFC. Uh, is this on Fight Pass? What is this called? I'll look that up for you right now, homie. Not sure. You see, they're taking down all the stream sites and shit, so it's gonna be hard to fucking. That's gonna depend also. Matter of fact, but on the streams, or I gotta get somebody's Fight Pass account or some shit, dog. But let's see. ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus. So let me just check with UFC.com, and they'll have what they're showing them on. But I think it's just ESPN Plus. Yeah, I got the ESPN Plus password, but I don't got Fight Pass neither. So it really just depends. ESPN Plus sucks though, like the way they yeah, main cards on ESPN Plus. Oh, prelims are on ESPN too. So I mean, it's all on ESPN. I don't think they go live on Fight Pass anymore unless it's like an early prelims or some shit. Um, yeah, nice. I got Chris Fishgold. If they're gonna take it to the ground, Mario Khan's gonna try some flashy shit standing up, and I think Fishgold gets him to the ground and gets a submission win there. Jimmy Manuwa's back. Alexander Radek. Manuwa 17-5, 6-5 in the UFC. Currently on a 3-fight losing streak to Thiago Santos, Han Blachowicz, and Volkan Oezdemir. Other UFC losses are to Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Johnson. So he's only lost to top competition. He's beat Corey Anderson, Ovince St. Preux. 15 out of 17 of his wins are by TKO or knockout. To Ravik, who is 11-1 in MMA, 3-0 in the UFC. He's beaten Francisco Barroza, Justin Ledette, and Devin Clark. 8-11. 8 out of 11 of his wins are by knockout, and he only has one submission loss. Not that Jimmy's going to want to take him to the ground or anything, but he only has one going to the ground. Jimmy had potential. His gym routed away already. So who do you got? You think Ravik is going to be able to beat Jimmy Manuwa? I think Jimmy Manuwa is going to come out maybe a second round knockout. This guy, just to kind of show him his levels. There's a little bit of levels, I think, between Jimmy Manuwa and this younger guy. So I got Manuwa the second round, which brings us to the co-main. Volkan Oezdemir and Ayer Latifi. Who you got there? Volkan, 16-4, 3-3 in the UFC. He went 3-0, and then he got the title shot, lost to DC. Came back from that, lost to Anthony Smith, and then lost to Dominic Reyes. Ayer Latifi's 14-6, 7-4 in the UFC, losing his last fight to a decision to Corey Anderson in December. 10 out of 14 of his wins are finishes, no losses by submission at all, and 3 out of 6 of his losses by knockout, so half of them by knockout. You got Volkan. You don't think Latifi's going to be able to get him to the ground? Volkan's not really good with wrestlers, as we've seen with the DC, and Anthony Smith obviously submitted him, so he's not good once he gets on the ground, Volkan. And Latifi is going to be trying hard for that. It's a decision. I'm gonna go against you, man. I got you. I'm gonna go Ayer Latifi by submission, third round. Ayer Latifi. I think, it is a toss up because I mean Volkan can land something early in the fight, but as soon as Latifi gets that takedown, if he can start wearing down on Volkan, getting him tired, making it easier for the takedowns to keep coming, I think Latifi's going to end up rolling away with that one. Main event, Alex Gustafsson and Anthony Smith. 18-5 Gustafsson is, 10-5 in the UFC. 11-18 of his wins are by knockout. Only losses are to John Jones twice, DC Rumble, and Phil Davis. Whereas Anthony Smith is 31-14, 7-3 in the UFC, 3-1 at light heavyweight. His only loss at light heavyweight is to John Jones for the title fight this past March. 28 out of his 31 wins are by finishes. Uh, so he's, excuse me. Uh, so he's been around the block for a very long time, Anthony Smith. Uh, he finishes his fights. He's only got 3 wins by decision. Um, you think Anthony and Gus are both journeymen? I think the same thing. I think Gus has been a little bit. Yeah, I got Smith as well. I think Gus has been a little bit outside his normal self. I don't think he's going to be able to bounce back from what he has going on. And I got Anthony Smith by maybe a second or third round knockout. Um, so I think that's going to be good as well. I like the main event. I think it's going to be an action-packed fight, and Gus got a chance as well. But Anthony Smith, I believe, has a better chance outstriking him later on. With a combination of threatening to take him down and stuff like that, of course. The card goes a little bit deeper. I think it's kind of a slower card. Maybe. You see how close Anthony Smith got whenever he fought Thiago Santos. Although he lost that fight, he hurt Santos in that fight. And Santos gets lucky and beats John Jones, and they give Anthony Smith that rematch with Thiago Santos. And, he hurts him again. Who knows what's going to happen? So I think Anthony Smith might have a little bit. But I think you're right. If Gus loses, he's done. Man. He might as well just retire, man, in his hometown or whatever. Or maybe he wants to get a win back or whatever. But he won't be champion if Gus loses. He just won't. It won't happen for him. It's not going to be a Donald Cerrone type situation for Alex Gus. I don't believe. But it's a kind of a slower card. I think on the undercard you got Tanya Evans, Jelena Landsberg, Stevie Ray's back. He's going against Leonardo not Garcia, Leonardo Santos. Nick Hines taking on Frank Camacho. Darko Stosic will be taking on Devin Clark, who we were speaking about earlier. Devin Clark. I got Darko in that fight. I think. Anthony Joshua fights. That should be Saturday night, though, right? Chicago time. Even Chicago time can't be that far off of me. It's like it's nighttime, yeah. The Joshua fight should be. Yeah, boxing shit's easy to find. But I'm worried about this UFC stuff. Oh, never mind. I got the ESPN thing. So I'm good on ESPN. But anyway, that's in the morning. It's at night. That those don't conflict with each other at all. So it should be a good morning and a good night for combat sports. But yeah, the UFC's got a fucking impressive schedule coming up. We just went and covered PFL 2, the lightweights and the featherweights in Long Island this past weekend for Pure Eagle MMA. We went to the Nassau Coliseum and covered those fights. Let's see what's coming up here. Hoping to maybe be back in New York and covering a Bellator that Bellator with Chael signing on it. That'd be awesome. We'll try to hit that up. Oh, they're coming to Chicago. Are you going to the fights in Chicago? The Henry Cejudo and Marlon Moraes. Because that should be a good card. Valentina Shevchenko, Jessica Ai, Tony Ferguson, Donald Cerrone, Jimmy Rivera, Peter Yan, Tai Tuivasa, and Blagna Ivanov, Tatiana Schwartz, Nina Antonov, Aljamain Sterling, Pedro Munoz, Karolina Kovacevic, Alexa Grasso, Ricardo Lamas, and Kelvin Qatar. That's a very, very, very deep card. Are you going to that? That's very important. You could have went to Kobe versus RDA. What about this one? This one's big. Even though it doesn't got the biggest names. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. No doubt. It's a better view though, unless you get like the perfect seats when you're there. It's way better just to be at home because I mean even when I go as far as media, as soon as they hit the ground, because when you're media you're on the floor, so as soon as they hit the ground you're immediately watching the screen to try to see because you're trying to judge the fight, you know, and you're trying to you're trying to see what's going on, so you can't be looking at the side view of people. You got to be looking at what the camera's looking at. So I'd say every single time somebody hits the ground, yeah, beer's cheaper. Beer's cheaper. But that's gonna be seriously an insane card right in your backyard. I guess if you're, I don't know how close you are to the United Center. It's got to be pretty amazing if you are that close to the United Center. But after that, they're going to be coming to Greenville, pretty close to my area. We got Hanato Mokano, Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, Andrea Lee, Montana De La Rosa, Brian Barberine, Randy Brown, Andrea Well, Anderson Dos Santos. A couple good undercard fights there. Plus no line for the washroom. See who calls it a washroom? I feel like you're immediately. I think you're like a guy that's born overseas and then you came over to Chicago. Who calls the bathroom a washroom? Or was that just a Chicago thing? I don't know. We're gonna keep it short for tonight, though, brother. We're gonna. It's You're from Puerto Rico. I knew it. Fucking knew it, son. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who calls it a washroom. I don't. Nobody that I know calls it a washroom. It's got to be somebody from another country, man. I be having a lot of people in my chat from another country, so that's like from you know what I'm saying. They talk with like accents in the over the chat. I could see the accent somewhat, um, so I'm kind of familiar with that. But yeah, bro, if you'll be back, I'll be here Saturday morning. I'll be streaming just like this. I'll do another little cool little fucking, or maybe I'll just take a picture of the fucking screen or whatever and use that as the thumbnail. But it was good talking to you too, brother. I'll see you on Saturday. All right, brother. Yeah.